our next item on the agenda is access services, and we have one public comment. Daniel?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. Good afternoon. Vice Chair.
Sorry?
Good afternoon. How's everyone this afternoon?
Fantastic.
Nice Thanksgiving. Well, we had some issues. I believe the meeting was in October rather, that we spoke of regarding the San Fernando Valley area with respect to reservations and some complaint matters. I do have some good news in that area. We are moving in a positive direction, and we have some stats that dictate the same. However, we still have a long way to go. We're constantly making improvements, and we're constantly monitoring service issues. And that's going to help us move in the direction for the rest of next year and forward. And that is our long-term goal with access. So we're not going to revert back to the older software that we spoke of. The current software being used, there has been some modifications to it, and the numbers have proven that this is working for us right now. San Fernando Valley, the performance rating is up with the rest of the providers right now at 9%. But as I said, there are still some tweaks that we need to work on, and that's going to be an ongoing issue with access. So hopefully we can come back to you at a later meeting next year and bring some more positive news with respect to the Valley area. Are there any questions?
Commissioners?
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner Herrera.
Okay, I think I'm live now. Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Burns, and thank you for the update. I have noticed that there has been some improvement in the way that reservations are handled, and it's working very well. There are a couple of issues that I don't know if it is within your jurisdiction or the provider needs to really assess what's going on, but I've been in a couple of rides where we get some drivers that either can't read maps or don't know how to operate their GPSs, and the very common answer that we get is we're only following the GPS, and it really becomes aggravating when you go 6 miles out of your way just to get to from point A to point B. My destination from my home to Amtrak is 2.25 miles, and sometimes as much as 8 miles out of the way because of crazy ideas. Or here again, a problem that I know you folks are working on to help them resolve that is the share ride assignments, which eventually will be resolved, I hope. But what gets me is when they don't know the valley, they don't know the streets, we give them directions, and I don't know if the conception is that blind person can't see, so how do they know where the hell they're going? So therefore, we're going to just take it, ignore what they say, and we end up driving in circles. I mean, when you go up and down Van Nuys Boulevard 4 times and you pass the same streets over and over and still go nowhere, something's got to give. And it's a waste of taxpayers' money, it's a waste of fuel and resources, and most of all, it makes the driver late for their appointments, and it's something that should be addressed.
What I'd like to do, Commissioner Herrera, is what you're referring to is one of those tweaks that I'm talking about because it is a routing issue. Reading maps and GPS systems, that's a very major part of what we do. Let me go back and see what type of training we have in place with our drivers and dispatchers if necessary with respect to reading maps and the GPS system, and see if we can find out if there are any flaws in the training because that's an important issue that we need to be aware of. So I will do that, and maybe I can discuss this in a meeting early next year. I'd say, how about February, or is that
That's very acceptable, yes. And before I stop, just wanted to bring to your attention that, so that if you're available to the meeting, I'd like to talk to you about an issue that's becoming a problem for several of my people, the people who call me who are access riders and are having issues with Global having to spend as much as 4.5 hours on the ride going home because of poor routing or share rides, or having somebody be, in essence, getting the grand tour of the city without really wanting it.
Okay. I will make sure I stay here so we can communicate and find out what's going on.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Michael?
Yes, sir. I just had a question. What is the amount of time that access is required to wait after a scheduled pickup time? Because I've had situations where I come up there 2 minutes after my pickup time, and I call access services, and they say, oh, well, the rider was, or the van was there, but he didn't come out, so we left. So I just wanted clarification as to how long access is required to wait.
Commissioner Briggs, if I understand you correctly, we do have a 20-minute window. To give you an example, if your pickup is scheduled for 12 o'clock, we have till 12:20 to get there. Now, if you call us at 12:21 because your vehicle has not arrived, we need to address that immediately. And if the provider cannot, we need to get you a backup vehicle ASAP. So that's the 20-minute window. Now, if you're at your pickup location at 12 o'clock and the driver arrives at 12, he's going to wait 5 minutes. Now, we have some drivers that might wait an additional minute or two. They're going beyond policy, but that's one of those things we call it going out of the box, and that's a good thing. But if they don't, just know that after 5 minutes, they are required to head off to their next trip. They should call their dispatch first, and dispatch should try to reach the customer before they pull away. So
Well,
if that's a continued problem for you, we need to address it.
well, is there any recourse for the rider if we keep getting no shows based on the fact that the driver didn't wait those 5 minutes before they left?
Well, in those particular cases, you shouldn't receive a no-show, and if you do, we need to know about that. And that's something that's under my supervision, and I guarantee you they will be removed immediately if that is a scenario. Something else that came up at Access, I really can't make any promises to that, but we're looking at ways of doing something for our customer when the issue is not their fault. It does, cause them to be late on the pickup or at their arrival. The arrival part is a little difficult because we never know what's out there that's going to interfere with the driving with that driver, which with respect to traffic issues, accidents, or things like that. But on the pickup side, we need to try to get there as close as possible to that pickup time that's on records.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
We are looking at that. Thank you. Any more questions?
And in your packets, he will see the access services superior superior access to facility at work.
Thank you, Commissioner, for bringing that up. Thank you very much. I just got it late yesterday, so I didn't have a chance to really look at it, but it is an important part of what we do at Access. We like to award those individuals that play a major role in the community, and that's basically what this program is all about. So if you have anyone that you feel is deserving of this award, please follow the instructions there, get that information to Matthew. Have it seen as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And now we have public comment from Daniel.
I want to know if anybody has any notice of a concern and public concern about not being able to go to places where it was before allowed and now it's not allowed because of the restriction to the ADA about a quarter mile. Am I right? Is it quarter mile or is it a quarter mile? A quarter mile after from the bus, from the bus.
Or light rail.
A quarter mile, and I'm concerned because I have friends who live in that quarter mile area outside of the quarter mile area, and I cannot go and visit them. I cannot go and restaurant that I no longer want to go. And that's prevent me to have my way of life in this way. So I want to know if the access services will be issuing a campaign letter to make more, to go above and beyond of the ADA, what ADA requires. And therefore I want to know if it's possible for accessibility to write a letter to the board of supervisors so that they can actually get the funding that they need to go to the extra above and beyond the ADA. Thank you very much.